Hey there YouTube, thank you for joining me once again on another edition of Go Time Gear. Well, today we are going to talk about the IFAK, which stands for Individual First Aid Kit. A lot of you out there are kind of saying, yeah Ron, we know what you're talking about, we know what an IFAK is. This is for the newbies out there, and believe it or not, a buddy of mine, he asked me, hey Ron, what do you put in an IFAK? And I go, well, let's look up my videos, and I could have swore I did one. Sure enough, I didn't. So this is the generation right before the U.S. military changed their new IFAK, where it's a slider version where you have 2 tourniquets and all that. This is kind of based off of the 100-round saw pouch. It's slightly different than a saw pouch. We can talk about that more later. But basically this I got, excuse me, this is a surplus, brand new IFAK pouch, never issued, and so forth. So I want to make this video before I continued any further. So the only thing I did was add some red electrical tape to the top, to this buckle, so I can tell it's, or somebody in my group knows this is an IFAK. You can also stitch in a cross, IR patch cross, or use Sharpie, whatever you want. But as far as we go, the electrical tape, the red electrical tape, suffices. Alright, let's open her up. Now keep in mind, this is how I got it, and this is how a lot of these you'll get if you can find them on the surplus market, unissued or new. This is how they'll come. So alright, see, the tourniquet is still sealed in plastic. You have to, let me take this out. This is all tourniquets that are the good ones are North American Rescue. Okay, if excuse me, if you're getting tourniquets online, they're very questionable because they've been getting these cheap knockoffs for the airsoft market, and you know, airsofters, they don't care because they're not getting that, they're not going to get shot. So get an actual North American Rescue, there you go, cat tourniquet. All right, they have a new, I think it's Gen 7, but yeah. All right, let's open her up. And if you notice, this has got some sort of stringy shock cord, if you will. It's not true shock cord, but it's close enough to whatever. But because this stays on your plate carrier, all you newbies out there, this cord is so if you pull the pouch, this thing out, it doesn't go flying. So first things first we want to look at is your tape. Now the tape here, this is Durapore. Trying to reach around the tripod here. Yeah, this is Durapore tape. You can tell, you can read it in here, and here's a brand new roll. If you do get a surplus IFAK, change out the tape. The tape may still be good, but as long as you replace it with the Durapore, I don't know if I can see that, made by 3M. It's the same tape, 2-inch wide. Here's another version of that if they come individually wrapped. But anyways, you can tell in the heat and tape exposed to the air, excuse me, will kind of get, the adhesive will get gummy. Alright, and it starts to kind of have some wavy lines. But anyways, before you put that in, this is what it looks like. It's some sort of a, like a cloth tape. Okay, it's kind of, it feels kind of silky. It's like a nylon tape. All right, let's put it on the hairy part of my arm. And if you do get new tape, do this to it. fold it over, and it gives you some sort of pull tab. Alright, and let's pull this. It doesn't tear off too much here, but anyways. Alright, got to pause it for 1 second. I forgot something. Alright, one thing I forgot that I needed to grab, it was kind of out of my reach, but let's take a look at this next thing you should replace. These, as you can tell by the label, expires 8/16 or August of 16. These are latex gloves. Whoop, doggone it. Keep this Ziploc baggie. Let's open her up. Latex, and if you notice, they come in a wad of one pair of, that's just one glove. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Well, these are latex gloves. Actually, these feel like nitrile gloves. Okay, yeah, these are nitrile. Now, with me, I have extra 2XL hands. If you have like a small or a medium glove, these will work fine. But with me, I have to go with a 2XL. These are nitrile. Obviously, they're blue. And if you notice, they fit on me a lot easier. And these are thinner than these. These are probably a 9 mil, but they don't really stretch too well. Yeah, those are nitrile, but they don't really stretch. With the 5 mil gloves, throw that away. Now, the mils are the thickness, and in medical, there's several different varieties. At first, I thought those were latex, because latex is generally that color. Alright, so let's pretend these are latex gloves. These are your nitrile. And in the healthcare industry, there's generally 3 types of gloves: latex, nitrile, and vinyl. Vinyl is your everyday general purpose. If you got to take care of somebody in a hospital or a nursing home, you use these. It's to prevent transmission of disease, or if you have to, say in a nursing home, you have to clean a resident, you use those. You can also use nitrile to do the same thing, as well as latex. However, with latex, people, because it is a natural product, people can be allergic to latex. So any latex you want to get rid of and replace with nitrile. Eventually people can get allergic to nitrile as well. But anyways, one little trick I learned is you take, trying to do this around the tripod, take 2 gloves, kind of pair them up, kind of fold them over, kind of get the air out, and you start balling, or start rolling it. So each ball is 1 pair of gloves, and you can get about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about 3, maybe 4 pairs of gloves in this baggie compared to 2 pairs of gloves before. Alright, so replace your tape, replace your gloves, and that's it. Anything else, as long as if it's vacuum packed, it's still sterile. Like you have your gauze, your compressed gauze, your Israeli bandage, and your nasopharyngeal. You know that it's going to be an airway. It's, as long as the package is not damaged, it's sterile. Things to add to your kit is, now this the first item I'm going to list is you're going to need to have training. This is a decompression needle for tensopneumothorax, say you have somebody that, say this is primary for you. If you get shot in the chest, something happens, you take her around to the chest that wasn't stopped by your plate armor. I've seen it dozens of times. Somebody gets you through the armpit area, or just outside the plate. Your lung becomes, you have the technical term is tensopneumothorax. The lung is starting to collapse, and you need to get that excess air out of the cavity so your lungs can function. This is one way. Another way is this, halo chest seals. Alright, so how many are in here? I forget, maybe 2. Well, if there's only one halo seal, I think there was one. I think there's one in here. Basically, you take this out of the package. I should put some duct tape here, or you can use your teeth. If you need a second seal, like say this for the top part of the body, and you need one on the back side of the body, you can open up this package, spread it out, and use your tape to secure it. That way this vented chest seal can get the air out of the lung cavity so your lungs can operate. Oh, speaking of which, the reason why you don't see black gloves in an IFAK kit is if the gloves get wet on a black glove, you don't know if it's water, sweat, or blood. A lighter color, you can tell. I forgot to mention that. Third thing to add is a casualty card. I got to add some string to this, and if somebody's working on you, they can fill this out, attach it to a set spot on the body, say around the neck or around your wrist or what have you. I got to put some string on there. It's like a hard plastic, and where did it go? Another thing with the tourniquet and this, you need a Sharpie, preferably one that has both a this has a fine tip for general purpose. So when you have a tourniquet, you either write it on the tourniquet, the time it was set, or you write it on the person's forehead. Yes, you can do that. It depends on your outstanding orders for your group. Now, I prefer the fine tip because it's easier to write with the fine tip on the other stuff. Like, let's see, this has name, unit, allergies, yeah, friendly, unknown. Well, you're going to be a friendly anyways. Tourniquet time, you also put that on here. If they've received any GSW or gunshot wound, you circle where it is, both either on the front or back if it's a through and through, or if they got hit by an IED, you can just X out the extremity that is now gone. All right. Here's another thing. This is a video by itself. Any kind of fluids that was administered, intact. You have a chest tube, you know, like a chest seal. You can circle that. Needle D, which needle decompression. Chest tube, if there's like a chest tube to decompress the lung. Hemostatic agent, i.e. this is Celox. Celox. I'll talk about this in a moment. Hemostatic agent, i.e. Quick Clot or Celox. Okay, here's Quick Clot. I'll talk about that in a minute. Any kind of packed wound or pressure dressing like your Israeli bandage. Alright, so this is something else that is important, to where if you are wounded, the doctors in the rear will need to know what happened to you. Okay, another thing. some Emt Shears. Gotta have those. Cuts open clothing and other things. Now, quick clot gauze. These are expensive, I know. There's also a version that's a civilian version, but the difference between the combat gauze and the regular quick clot gauze is the combat gauze has a very, very fine stainless steel wire woven into the cloth, or the cotton, if you will, and it's detectable by x-ray. Alright, another thing to do, you have a pull tab. Now these things are expensive, and it's still good for December, for 2027. Now what you do is you put some duct tape. You can have it longer or what have you. You grip it like that, and instead of fighting that tab, that little notch right here, by using the tab, you can have this to open it up even further. So my Israeli bandage, I got to do that. The Halo chest seal, I got to do that too, as well as this. This is the Celox applicator. This is a plunger. I'll see if I can find a picture and add it into this video. It looks like a what do you call it? A hypodermic needle, if you will. The barrel of the hypodermic. And obviously you've heard the rumor out there using a tampon to plug holes. Do not recommend a tampon. Tampons are not sterile. Okay, this is a hemostatic agent to stop the blood flow. You put, say, here's the hole, here's the syringe with that in it. After you open her up, you put the plunger into the tube containing the powder, and then you stick the tube. It'll look like a, it's got a little cross section like a tampon, if you will, with a plastic applicator tip. It'll have that kind of keeps the granules in there. You'll spill a little bit, but not much. But anyways, say here's the hole. You jam the applicator, which is sterile, into the hole, and you start squeezing and start retracting the applicator. Okay, if you're having resistance plunging it, pull it back, and you'll start to feel the cavity where you can install the Celox granules. Can't have trouble talk. I'm trying to get this done quick. Okay, 12 minutes. All right. Well, that's on this segment. Okay. I highly recommend doing something like this. Now, let me set this up because it takes a while to kind of set it up. Let me show you how it's already done, and then I'll pull it out and unpack it. So hang tight. And we are back after I stuffed this sausage pretty full. Alright, as you can tell, I got these are the old gloves, and this is the old tape. So yeah, Durapore 3M tape. Now, one thing I forgot to mention, if you are going to mount this to your chest rig, flick, whatever, make sure you do it when the pouch is completely empty. It's going to be a lot easier, trust me. Alright, so say you get hit. Alright, you get hit and your buddy has to come over to help you. Generally, it's a good idea to have everybody mount their IFAKs in the same general area, preferably in the same spot. So no matter what, if the tape falls off, you can't see the first aid cross on the pouch, you will know exactly where it's at. Alright, now there is Velcro. Before, the Velcro lined up perfectly, but this time it's not too well. I didn't add the tape to the Celox you know, I just didn't. But anyways, here it is. You got your shears, Emt Shears. You have your Halo chest seal, your your casualty card, and then you have the bulk of your IFAK. Am I still in frame? Yes. All right. Open that up. Okay. Generally, this stuff is supposed to stay put, but because we're adding a lot more to the IFAK than what was originally intended, you know, things are going to be kind of loose, like that stuff. That's all added. The new modern IFAKs will have that in its own designated spot. Okay, here's your Nasopharyngeal Tube. Also, if you want to add a small pack of lube, that's perfectly fine. It's up to you, but generally your saliva or blood will lubricate it as it's going in through the nasal cavity to open up to have a patent airway. Here's now, before there was only 2 pair of gloves, now I got 4, and these are thin enough to where it not only protects my hands but also protects the patient, or say I'm using this to work on, this is a buddy's IFAK, he's unconscious, I'm using this to save his life. It protects my hands from my buddy's wound, or it protects me from my buddy, because I don't know what kind of bloodborne pathogens he has. Here's a case in point. But another friend of mine who was stationed in Iraq, he saw the friendly Iraqi forces dealing with people who were exploded via IEDs, and they were not using gloves to pick up the pieces, and as an end result, those our friendly Iraqi forces got sick due to bloodborne pathogens. If you're dealing with bodily fluids, use gloves, plain and simple. All right. Hope this helps out my one friend who wanted to know what I use in an pack in an IFAK, and for those out there yourselves. If you like the content, please like, comment, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, check out my other YouTube channels, or my other channels. They're kind of a safety net in case I get zucked from YouTube. It's basically the same content, by the way. But anyways, I do have other channels. You can check those out on Brtighteon and Bitchute. Excuse me. Sorry. And also, while you're at it, check out the R Syndicate. There's John from the PreparedMind channel, OOMAN of the OOMAN channel. Caz, now he just changed his channel, changed the name of his channel to Italian Hillbilly, I believe. Check him out. Vaughn of Backcountry Preps, and there's so many more on the R Syndicate. So there you go, folks. Remember, prepare like your lives depend on it, because it does. Take care, everyone, and God bless.